wild turkeys in my yard. So if they just happen to wander into the garage and it shuts and we have turkey that night, Tony already has his balls ready and recipes. He's just getting so mad. You're super hungry. Okay, so your pictures from the poly are you going to one day?
Good evening, and Jumbo from Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. We are in the Sunset Lounge just off the lobby. I am Lou Mongello. I'm this close to getting ready to take a nap because I just finished the Wanyama Safari. That's not why I want to take a nap. It's because I just finished dinner at Jico, and I have my post-Jico. It's like a Bomacoma, but just doesn't roll off the tongue quite as easily. If you're watching live, thank you for being here. Get comfortable, grab a snack, invite and tag a friend. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget to join us every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. right here. For the first time, literally in forever, although it doesn't look like it behind me, we actually have a live studio audience. Hey, say hi. Some people have traveled far and not so far to be here. Animal Kingdom's so far away, right? It seems like forever. It is well worth the trip. Today, I got a chance to experience something that I have not done before. We had actually mentioned it during our top 10 overlooked experiences in Walt Disney World. It very much is one that is deserving to be on the list. If you don't know, the Wanyama Safari is literally a private safari that takes place daily here at Jambo House at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. And by way of history, it used to be something that was only available not only if you were only staying here on property at the lodge, but it used to have to be a concierge guest in order to take advantage of the Wanyama Safari. Now it's open to all guests. And pro tip, you don't even need to be a guest at a Walt Disney World resort, because once you step on property, you are in fact a guest. So I was invited to experience it for the first time today. And if you don't know, it is we started about 4, it's 7:30, so it's almost a 3.5, 4-hour experience where you check in at Jico at around 3:30, and you're treated to a little a pre-safari snack of some African-inspired dishes and delicacies. You get to meet one of the cultural representatives. We met somebody today who was from Tanzania, learned a lot about not just her, but her country. And then the 12 of us, and it is limited to just 12 people because you actually participate in the safari in a special vehicle. It's a covered vehicle with open sides, and you are taken out onto the different sort of savannas out here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and get very, very up close to a lot of the different animals that call this property home. You go in between here and Kidani Village. And if you watched earlier today, I went live from the safari, and it literally is like having your own private Kilimanjaro safari, but where everything is so much closer. And if you watch, you'll see the animals literally will come right up to the van. Sometimes like a safari, you'll get stopped a little bit along the way because the animals are there in the road, but it was fascinating. My feeling was, if you like the Kilimanjaro safari, you're going to love the Wanyama Safari. And if the animal encounters and experience wasn't enough for you, but wait, there's more. It gets even better because you end off with a special meal, a multi-course meal served family style at Jico. I was live a little bit from there before. There's live entertainment there. And then the chef was actually kind enough. I asked him, I said, do you happen to have a copy of the menu? Because I hit my coma around the entrees. And he actually wrote out for me all of the different items that we had. So they brought out a mini bread service. So if you've been to Sanaa, you're smiling because I said bread service. If you like the bread service at Sanaa, you get a little bit of a sampling of it here, as well as another trio of outstanding entrees, appetizers, which was, hold on, let me find it. I don't know what a lot of these words are. They're very, very fancy words. Oh, there was it was a poached shrimp, an Epcot land salad with greens that were actually grown. Just listen to the land we all love. Nature's plan will shine above. And then a Indugay Tibbs, and brick. I don't know what it was. It was like a little fried phyllo dough with mushroom and this curry sauce. I wanted to eat the ladies next to me, but we hadn't gotten that close just yet. And then there was a series of entrees that are served family style. The Wanyama Safari complete experience is $209 per person. I believe guests need to be 10 years of age, or 10 you can only be 10 years of age or older in order to participate. But it was something that we were just talking here earlier, I had never done before. And having just did the safari last week and then done this, it's such a unique personal experience. And what I really loved about it is because of the vehicle that you're in, you don't just have a driver that is narrating what you're seeing, but in the back of the cab with you, you have not just a guide, but a zoologist who really has an intimate working knowledge of not just the tour itself, but all of the animals. And in fact, she was a trainer for some of the animals there and one of the care specialists there. So being able to not just hear from her, but interact with her, get your questions answered, and then, like you said, getting amazing shots of being able to get so close with the giraffes literally were, practically sticking their heads in the vehicle. It was wonderful. It was something I was happy to be able to do. And it's something I think I'm going to take my family back to do again, too, because I think my kids who are, God help me, almost 16 and just turned 14, I think that's something that they would really love and appreciate, and plus the fact that they're foodies, too. But what I didn't realize is that this is one of many specialty tours and experiences that you can have here at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. I didn't know it before I walked in the door this morning. I learned about them today, and I made a new friend who can come over and tell us all about it because I want to make sure I get everything right.
You got a lot right, Wanyama. Good job. So do you remember what Wanyama means?
It means buffet in Swahili. It means food coma in Swahili.
That's probably what you got out of it, but it actually means animal. So we call it Wanyama Safari because it's the animal safari. It's the longest safari we have here at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And it's been the longest tour we've been doing here at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And since then, we have 3 more, which are some that I mentioned to you.
Yeah, so I didn't realize how long the Wanyama Safari has been going on. I think I got it right. So it originally was for concierge-level guests who are staying at the lodge, and now it's open for any guest, whether you're staying on property, because you made a great point. Once you are in Walt Disney World property, you are a Walt Disney World guest.
Yeah, it threw me the first time they said it's actually open to any Walt Disney World resort guest. And I'm like, oh, I'm not staying in a resort. I'm staying in a motel on 192. But that's fine. If you're a guest staying for 1-day park ticket, or if you're having a meal, you are a resort guest.
Jordan, just so you know, if you're staying in a motel on 192, you're doing it wrong because you really want to stay.
Well, I can tell you that. I mean, we're here at the lodge where you have the zoo outside your window, so you're living it right if you're doing it here.
Yeah, this has definitely been a wonderful afternoon, and I might be sleeping here on the couches tonight. But like you said, there's other experiences. That's why I was like, yeah, it would be great for you to come and talk about, because I wasn't even, like you said, the sense.
The Sense of Africa. That is my favorite. I've heard you've been talking about Wanyama really high. You talked about it really good. Sense of Africa is the program if you want to go behind the scenes at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's called Sense of Africa because it touches the senses, like touch, taste, smell, both for the guests that are going to go on the program as well as the animals. So when you're going backstage into the barns, you're learning what their senses they use for survival to survive. There are always hopeful interactions, which is great. So at Animal Kingdom and Animal Kingdom Lodge, we never force our animals to do anything. If we go to the barn and they don't want to participate, they don't have to. But most likely, if you're going to have some food for them, then they might come over and you'll be able to take a picture with our instructors who take pictures that show up on your photo pass. It's similar to Watt in that regards, but it's actually behind the stage in the barns. And also, it's also really early in the morning. That's one interesting thing about Animal Kingdom Lodge is because the animals at the park, they're open. If the park is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., then the animals are out the safari, then they go in their barns at night. But if you're here at the lodge and you've got a Savannah View room, if you go watch fireworks at Magic Kingdom at midnight and come back, you want to see some animals. So our animals are out 22 hours per day. And it's those 2 hours a day when they come back to get different trainings, getting food, that's when we take our Sense of Africa guests into the barns to have those hopeful interactions. And then they go back out and enjoy the guests that are out at the lodge.
And it's definitely something that you have put on my radar I may have been so excited about the fact that you start off with breakfast at Boma that I didn't even hear anything else that you said because all I was thinking was you get breakfast at Boma as well.
That's one reason to wake up early. So it is early because that's the 2-hour window the animals are in the barn. So guests start here in Sunset Lounge at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then you're at Boma by 7:10. And when you're there, Boma normally opens at 7:30, but our guests get in there first shot at the buffet, but also all the food that's on the table is special for our Sense of Africa guests. So we have one of our African culinary representatives. So you may be familiar, if you go to Epcot and you go to Norway, it's generally someone from Norway that might be working at the merchandise counter. Well, the lodge is very unique because here at the lodge, we have African cultural representatives in food and beverage, in education, and also in our culinary team. So they're the ones that make the food that our guests get at the table that you can only get for Sense of Africa. And then you can go on the buffet and get everything you want.
Yeah. And it's funny because even today for the Wanyama Safari, our cultural representative was from Tanzania. Mm-hmm. And it was fascinating to find out what a typical meal there is like versus what a typical meal here is like. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that she would eat at home versus some of the things we can find on a Boma buffet, knowing that it's something that truly is traditional. Of course, I was fascinated by what was the first thing when you got to America? Like, what was the first thing you wanted to eat? What was like that real American food? And she had asked some people, what should I have first? And there was a wide variety of different opinions. I'm like, it's America. It's hamburgers and hot dogs. And then I was trying to figure out where to get the right hamburger.
Right.
But there are other tours and experiences here. So a few months ago, I took advantage of and I believe it's Wednesday afternoons. There's a free tour that guests can take here as well?
There's a number of free offerings that we have. So we have our cultural tours and we have our culinary tours.
Take a guess which one I did.
I just happen to have our recreation calendar here. So I have to say how robust the Animal Kingdom Lodge recreation calendar is. A lot of resorts, they have all the offerings they do and then the map is on the back. But because we have Jumbo House and Kidani Village, we have a pool in both locations, we have campfires in both locations, we have movies all over the place. We need 2 pages. But the corner that you want, if you want something free as far as food, is our culinary exploration. So you might have done the one that we do over at Sanaa. So they basically will tell you what the word Sanaa means. They'll point out some of the artwork that's on the wall. And spoiler alert, it usually ends in a surprise and delight of that bread thing that you were mentioning a bit earlier.
Can I go do it right now?
Yeah. But that's just one way that you can do it. At the same time, they're doing that over at Sanaa. They do it here over at Jiko starting at 4:15. Right. That one goes to both Jiko and Boma. So they give a little bit of the history of what the art is, what the names mean. You have a tasting at Jiko. They pass you off to Boma. You have a tasting over there. A lot of the times it happens to be a zebra dome, but if it's not, you're welcome to go to the Mar and get a zebra dome on your own.
It was, and it was awesome. And then I think, is the timing of it like right after? There's also is there a wine?
So the wine tasting only happens on Wednesdays. So that happens Wednesdays at 3 o'clock at Jiko. Jiko, whether you mention it or not, it's very famous for its wine. In fact, it's said to have the largest collection of South African wine outside of South Africa. So you have a tasting at Wednesday, and that is one of the experiences that you can book with our concierge.
Yeah, it was the free tour was wonderful, and I was almost looking around like, why are there not more people here that maybe don't even know that either A, it exists, or B, that you don't have to be staying here in order to participate. I mean, and even, today is a perfect kind of day. It was a little cloudy, it was a little rainy out. It's the perfect day to come and spend a day touring the resort. Because the other thing I noticed when I walked into that I think a lot of people might not realize is, in addition to the scheduled tours, throughout the lobby on both the upper and lower level, there were cultural representatives that were interacting with guests, teaching kids as well as adults a lot of different activities and hands-on stuff.
Yeah, so we do well over 15 different activities per day. But one of the things that you can do here at the lodge is earn your string of memories. So if you're familiar with Animal Kingdom and their Wilderness Explorer program, where you can get your book and get 30 different stamps, here you can get 8 different beads. And each bead represents some kind of conservation education activity. For instance, the first one we do in the morning is a flamingo activity we do on our Wanyama Safari. And if you do that activity where you kind of get to be a citizen scientist, you earn your flamingo bead. And then one of the other activities we do is our bio blocks. If you kind of think of environmental Jenga, We build blocks if you do good things for plants and animals, but if you do something that's not as strong for the animals, you have to remove a block, and then you see how the ecosystem crumbles. Well, ultimately, there's 8 different beads. You can earn them in a day, you can get them in a week, you can do half this year, half next year, and if you get all 8, then you earn your Mickey Totem bead, and that completes your string of memories. And I was mentioning those cultural representatives. It's only our African cultural representatives that are giving the conservation information.
So is this only for kids?
Oh, no, actually. We have a lot of adults do it. In fact, one of the funniest families I saw was we had a group of women who might have been on a girls' trip, and they said they had a really big Magic Kingdom day, like on a Monday, and they vowed, like, tomorrow, I am not going to the park, so I'm just going to stay at the resort. So they got every single bead in one day.
Wow. Sometimes
it's a lot of work. So you might do one of your activities over at Kidani and then run over here in an hour to do the next one that's over at Jumbo House. But you can get them all in one day, and there's no age limit on this one.
Is there I don't see a bread service bead on here because I would just have 8 different bread service beads.
Well, the closest you come to a bread service that involves food is actually this one. Okay. This is our animal enrichment bead. So you saw Emily today wearing our envelope, right?
Yep.
So Emily might also be one of our keepers that comes to the lodge and would do animal enrichment, where we essentially make food or toys and puzzle feeders for our animals. And kids or adults can take part. You might have hay, you might have fruit, you might have anything that you're going to stuff into our little puzzle feeders. And then once you get hands-on making it for the animals, the keepers will take out, put it on maybe a rucher or using them in a savanna, and then you'll get to be able to see them interact with it.
And these are free activities?
Yeah, this is free. Wow. And again, you don't need to be staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge to do these activities. You can come partake in any of the environmental activities we're doing.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to have you here, because I had no idea any of these things exist. I mean, you want to talk about bringing home a cool, unique, like one-of-a-kind, you can't buy it anywhere souvenir, like that's it. And what I love is that the kids basically kids at heart, are making it themselves, because they're going to go home and they'll have a story to tell about a person that they met or an activity that they did, as opposed to buying something that any guest can get from a gift shop. So I love this.
Yeah. So all the information is in the recreation calendar, but particularly for our String of Memories, we give kids one of these String of Memories activities. So these are activities that happen at Kidani House. These are the ones that happen at Jumbo House, and that's how they can follow to get their own String of Memories. And I'll do one shout out while I have the opportunity. I was talking about the cultural representatives. They come on a 1-year program. So they basically leave their home, they leave their family to share their culture here with us. And every 3 months we have a group that's coming and a group that's leaving. And tomorrow at 11:30 we're having our graduation here at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. So the graduation's open to anyone. It's all of our African cultural representatives that are from our food and beverage, lobby greeters, Savannah guides. They have their cap and gown. Our general manager leads all the proceedings. And then afterwards they end up singing all the national anthems from their home countries as kind of the fond farewell. So once we have graduation, we know it's a fond farewell, and we wish them the best in their travels, and we say they can never wipe the pixie dust off their feet.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, even like I said, talking to the woman tonight, she was just so thrilled to be here. I mean, her sort of face lit up as she was talking about her experience here at the lodge. My face lights up when I talk about my dining experiences here at the lodge. Best dining experience at Animal Kingdom Lodge, restaurant and time of day.
The night you and I ate ourselves stupid at Jimmy Sal's birthday party at Boma.
Oh, he says, I'll paraphrase, the night we ate ourselves stupid at
You remember that.
I have very little recollection of that.
Excessive amount of what they did.
There's no such thing as an excessive amount of
we ate a lot of
Boma.
soup that night. A lot of very good soup.
Chico dinner?
I love Boma. We can't go wrong.
I mean, I think this resort has the best dining experiences of any resort on property. So I love Samant and its bread service, and I've had some of my best meals already at Chico. But we do Christmas Eve at Boma every year.
Christmas Eve, okay.
We do brunch at Boma so that we're home for the rest of the day. And it's one of my favorite times of the year. Like I book nothing 6 months out. I book my Christmas Eve brunch at Boma 6 months out.
See, what I heard everyone saying was Boma for dinner type stuff. I have to take an opportunity to talk about Boma for breakfast.
I think you guys have it wrong. I think it's Boma for breakfast.
So here's the reason you want to do...
From Baltimore, and I appreciate the lobster.
Right.
I love dinner at Boma too. Like I do think it's the best buffet on property, but like
Well, it is actually rated the best breakfast buffet on property.
Yeah.
The whole restaurant was actually just named one of the top 10 theme park restaurants on property.
So well, it's my number one.
Here's why I want to talk about breakfast, and I kind of relate it to the American palate, because we're an African-themed restaurant, and if you go to breakfast anywhere on property or in America, you're going to get eggs, you're going to get bacon, you're going to get a lot of sweet things. Our diet is a lot of donuts, croissants, a lot of sweet things, but in Africa, they're not having a lot of sugars. They're not having a lot of sweet things for breakfast. Theirs is a much more savory. So if you start on the carving station at Boma, which is we also nicknamed the African corner, you can get a pop, you can get a chocolata, you can get the bobote. I know those are just random words to you guys right now, but basically one is like a spicy tomato relish. One is ground beef with egg, and another one is like a pop, kind of like a grits. And you mix that together, and you're getting the more authentic African savory breakfast on top of the wonderful eggs and bacon you have on the buffet.
It was the very first time I ever heard of a thing called quinoa, which I found out later on was called quinoa. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good, because I am more of a savory than I'm a sweet person, and this is the first time I had it. And I'm with you. I think Boma breakfast I actually prefer over Boma dinner. Or maybe I should try them both and then compare, so I have a more updated.
They both can be number one.
We don't have to choose. I mean, generally, if you've never been to the lodge before, your perfect day is Boma breakfast, Sanaa lunch, Jiko dinner.
No, I disagree. No, so the perfect day is you sleep in a little bit because you've got these beautiful views. You do Boma breakfast for like 2.5 hours until they escort you out. Then you do, because you're so, then you can go over to the, wait, here it is. Then you sort of waddle yourself out to the pool and you have Mara for lunch. Mm-hmm. Then you have Jiko for dinner. And then when you wake up from the coma, you make your way over to Sanaa and have the bread service in the lounge at night, which may or may not be happening this evening.
And the other important thing about the Mara is one of the locations where you can get a zebra dome. Yeah. So if anyone knows about a zebra dome, or if anyone never has, it's our signature dessert here at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And it takes a long time to make because there's 3 layers to it. Basically, it's a little half dome thing that looks white with black stripes, which is how it gets its zebra name. But ultimately, it has a sponge cake layer on the bottom. It's got a amaretto mousse in the middle, which is kind of chocolatey and sweet, overlaid with white chocolate and then black chocolate drizzles. So they have them at Boma dinner on the buffet. You can have as many as you want if you're talking about stuffing yourself silly. But if you're not at Boma dinner, you can go to the Mara and get them in our refrigerator section, as well as Kadani in their merchandise location. You can get them as well. So
there's a lot of people who are watching live who are singing the praises of Boma both a lot. Lou, you need to do a Boma show with a guest, hint, hint. When I start talking about live dining reviews, it's amazing how many people are willing to do it. Boma never disappoints. Bread service. Yeah, bread service is, I can't wait to try Zebra Domes. Somebody asked if there was some way to get Uber Eats from, no, you need to come here and experience, like, it's part of, you talk about, and sometimes we overuse the word experience, but it really is. I mean, part of coming here is not just the food that's on your plate. It is being able to talk to the cultural representatives. It's being able to see the growth. I was even saying when I walked in earlier tonight, like, I think Victoria Falls is one of those overlooked lounges because I love the atmosphere there, and it's nice and quiet, and your kids can go off and do their thing, and I just love the lobby, especially at sunset at night when there's the fire pit inside and the fire pit outside. Yeah. So the other thing funny that you mentioned Victoria Falls, because that's one of the little architectural nuances that people don't realize here at the lodge, is so if you're at the lobby of Animal Kingdom Lodge, you're actually on the 3rd floor. That kind of throws little people when they're getting directions. But on the side of the lobby, we have a wellspring. So there's water kind of bubbling up here in the lobby. And then it goes down Victoria Falls as our version of the waterfall, and then it goes down to the 1st floor where it's Boma. You may have noticed if you go into Boma, you're actually going over a shallow little bridge, and the water that starts on the 3rd floor is going under that bridge. And then as you continue outside, as you're going to the Mara, the pool, then the water turns into a little river that goes by our Jiko restaurant. It goes under another bridge, and it goes into the water in the swimming hole. Not the same water, but it's the same water. And then it goes to the bridge on the other side, and then it ends up being the water where flamingos are, and for a watering hole for animals on Museum.
So in the whole circle of life thing, water is a very important thing that you can't live without in Africa, and it unites our entire resort.
So Tim Brown says, Victoria Falls Lounge, shh, stop talking about it. Hashtag best kept secret. Martin was mentioning he loves all the little story areas in the lodge. So actually, when I came up here earlier today, I didn't realize all of the little artifacts and placards in here that sort of help tell the story, all the things that have sort of been collected over the years. Is there sort of a story to this Sunset Lounge?
Did you bait me? I mean, there actually really is a good story to that one, and you asked the right guy. Yeah, so Sunset Lounge is actually an homage to Martin and Osa Johnson. And if you were to turn the camera and see all the pictures that are on the wall over there, or you see Martin and Osa right here, they are a couple that was kind of very popular in the 1930s. And this collection actually comes from their museum that is in Kansas City, Missouri. So the story of Martin and Osa is before TV was very popular, not many Americans were seeing these big gray animals or long-necked animals. So they relied on going to the movies and seeing short films that Martin and Osa made to show off Africa to America. And there's actually a magazine article at the time that had a top 10 list that said, top 10 influential Americans. Number 1 on that list was Walt Disney himself. But number 2 was Martin and Osa Johnson for all of the discoveries they did. So all the pictures that are on the wall here are from their collection. And you'll notice that Osa, the female, is in most of the pictures because Martin was behind the scenes. And sadly, after a lot of their travels, Martin did pass away in a plane crash. So then Osa started her next life being an author. And she's a best-selling author that has a number of books that kind of highlight everything that they did in their journeys.
So it's funny, when you first started telling the story, I wasn't sure if it was a story, sort of if they were fictional characters that sort of, completed sort of the story, or if they were actually real people.
Yeah, and this column particularly actually has a lot of theming as well. I mean, the Disney Imagineers don't overlook anything. And there's 4 sides. And the side that you're seeing right now is what a male tribesman would be in one of the areas that they went in. In fact, this one is from the Beacom tribe. And if you went on the opposite side, all the artifacts are going to be what a female tribeswoman would have. But then on the opposite sides, you have what Osa would have on her savannah, being a Western, either from England or America journey person. And you'll notice some of the items are kind of silly to us. They have porcelain teacups and a very nice mirror, along with things that you wouldn't think you'd bring on safari. Mind you, they're not going for a 1-week vacation. They're living there for a year or 2. And then the opposite side is what Martin or the male would have. So a lot of thought went into it. And we also like to say here at the Lodge that we are actually a museum. In fact, we're the largest collection of African art that is currently on show outside of the continent of Africa. And if anything has glass or plexiglass, then it basically has a great story. But if some of the items behind us, like that wooden sculpture here, or near our front we have our King's Door, you are welcome to touch anything that does not have glass behind it, because Disney wants you to get that full sensory, tactile experience along with the art and really experience it.
Yeah, so I was aware of some of the larger pieces in the lobby, but I was completely unaware of everything that was on the walls and in the glass cases in here. And this is just a really nice place. That's one of the things I like about the Lodge too. Is are there so many little sort of nooks and crannies and balcony type areas that you can just sit outside in a rocking chair with your bread service to go, or your cocktail, whatever it might be, and just look out over. I've actually come here sometimes to work. I guess around the corner there's a small little lounge area. There's sort of an inside lounge area. The kids can go play, and there's also an outside area. And I sat outside with my laptop one day just for a few hours working.
Yeah, I always like to do, over at Kidani Village, we have one of our children's areas, and what I like is they have movies for the kids, they have video games for the older kids, they have pool if you want to do it family style, or if you just want the kids to play or do arts and crafts, the parent can go outside with a coffee and have a great view of the zebras, all while you're in the safe area, but getting a little bit more room than you have.
Yeah, so people are saying they love the shopping experiences here. Dolly says we purchased some items from the gift shop that are beautiful. I wanted as on my dining room table, get compliments all the time. So even the shopping here is unique to the Lodge.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of items here that aren't normally in the merchandise counter. In fact, if you were to go to about 4:30 p.m. every night and late till we close around 10 o'clock, we have an African carver who's here every single night. And generally they're making small items with wood or anything from a really big walking stick that you can get custom-made things. If you like monkeys, if you like snakes, they'll make a walking stick just for you. And that's really getting in touch with the African experience and a lot of art items that you can get as well.
So besides the bread service at Sanaa, hi Beatrice, is there anything else, LOL, what is your favorite item to eat for the main course anywhere here at Animal Kingdom Lodge?
I'm going to speak for my kids actually on this one. So if you go to Sanaa, they have a dessert called the African Shield dessert. And last year my daughter asked, I said, where do you want to go for dinner? I'll go anywhere for your birthday. And she just said, I want to go somewhere where they're going to sing to you. I'm like, sing to you? Well, you're not going to get just singing. I know where there's going to be drumming, and you get to make your own dessert. So at Sanaa, you can get the African Shield dessert, which is basically like a white brownie that comes with a palette of different sugar colors, and then you can make your own dessert. And that really makes the kids happy. And as long as the kids are happy, then generally the adults are going to be happy.
Tim Brown says, it's already a drinking game here at our house. Drink when you hear the word bread service. Tim Brown and his wife just finished a bottle of wine.
Cheers.
I'm thinking short ribs, right?
Okay.
We actually had that tonight. We had a little, and it was served family style, and it was me and an entire family, and I sort of felt like I was adopted, and I wanted to eat more of the short ribs, but it was all the way down at the other end of the table, and I didn't want to, but they fell apart. Best thing to eat at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge? You could say bread service, it's fine. What is it? Zebra domes?
They've already said it, but that's my move.
The porridge, like the spinach and sweet, and it's like right now the name of it. There's spinach in, and it's sweet, and it's.
Is it the pop? Is it the pop? Like it's.
It wouldn't be pop. That's
grains, almost like
The ancient grains. I'm just looking at what the chef wrote. I'm just going at the maize-crusted grouper,
Nope.
the tomato grains of paradise, spicy sambal.
Nope.
I mean, eventually I'll get to it. Peri-peri chicken. How am I hungry again? How am I possibly thinking about food all over again? I could do bread service all day, all night.
Mm-hmm. You also notice it's so popular that they only offer the 5 breads and the 9 sauces, where it used to be less breads and less sauces, and really,
Right.
who was getting a smaller portion?
No. And I say that the play is one of my favorite things to do. And I actually did a live review of Sanaa late night, because I think that's the overlooked experience. As people see Sanaa, and it's a wonderful sit-down restaurant, but they don't realize that you can go into the lounge, take advantage of the rest of the menu, and there's that huge family-style table right in the middle. Like, I think a perfect day is coming back from the parks, and I've done this many times, including with that guy. And you get a bunch of people around the table. We'll get a couple orders of bread service and a few of the different desserts. And I remember there was I'm a tea drinker. There was a ton of different teas. What? What is it? You don't have to raise your hand.
Corn and spinach pudding.
Sweet what?
Sweet. Oh my.
Sweet corn and spinach pudding.
So good.
It sounds like a child's worst nightmare.
So good that
The spinach is
my-
healthy.
so good that the waiter we had brought me some to the table just in case they ran out.
Were you eating that much that the waiter needed to go, Chef, I need a whole bowl for the guy at table 12?
But it's so good.
I don't think I've had that.
I don't think I have either.
He's obviously Jason.
I'm on Boma for breakfast almost all the time with some of our programs.
So I think the stew at the Mara, the African.
Oh, yeah.
That's my go-to. I'm having it tomorrow after graduation with our cultural reps. I am.
Pochi?
Yeah, the African stew.
So good. It's phenomenal. And all of the soups at Boma in the evening, I'm a big Boma breakfast girl. But the soups and stews at Boma.
If you could just set up some pots.
Right. So we're getting some lot of bread services, scallops at Chico. Brian says my favorite from 20 years ago, filet with mac and cheese with the wine reduction. Actually, we had the mac and cheese tonight
Yes,
at Chico.
the mac and cheese is one of the little known. You don't really associate fine dining with mac and
Because when
cheese.
Chef came out, he said mac and cheese. Everybody sort of giggled. He's like, oh, no. Like, trust me, this is not like kid mac and cheese.
And how was it?
It was gone in 2 seconds. The family ate so much mac and cheese, I got only a tiny little bit. Let's see. First, paneer and spinach. We went to Sanaa on our last trip solely because you suggested it, and OMG, it was amazing in all capital letters. So thank you. Thank you. You should have called me. I would have gone with you. I ate dinner, and somehow this discussion is still making me hungry. Stop and pick up some domes to go, bring them to the lounge. Request the return of Christmas in a cup to Sanaa.
Interesting.
I've never heard of that. Spicy Durban chicken. I haven't been to Sanaa in a while. I need to. I don't think I've done a live review of Sanaa. If only there was somebody who wanted to go to Sanaa with me for dinner one night. I mean, and whatever. I'll find somebody, or I'll go by myself. It's
Actually,
fine.
the one program we didn't mention that also happens at Sanaa is we have our Wanyama Safari, which is kind of half safari, half dining at Chico. We have Sense of Africa, where you go to Boma breakfast and then backstage with our animals. But we also have our Dine with an Animal Care Specialist, and that's where you have lunch with one of our animal keepers, as well as a 4-course lunch at Sanaa, which does include bread service, as well as a number of other Sanaa offerings. And that happens twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Wow. As we started talking before, that's why I was happy you're here, because I had no idea. I had known of the single free tour and the wine thing. I had just been turned on to, obviously, the Wanyama Safari.
Oh, free tour. You remind me, there's so many more free ways to get food.
Wait, what?
Yes. So
I got to write this
our
down.
culinary expert, you don't need to write it down. It's on the recreation calendar. So you notice at 1:30 every day at Boma, they do cookie decorating. And again, it's not just for kids. Yeah, you did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically you'll get sugar cookies of a different animal of the day. They'll also have different icings and sprinkles, and if you want a second one, you can get a second one. So basically you can get a free cookie. That's the first free thing of the day, 1:30. The next thing is 3:30. You go over to Sanaa, and then they do cookie decorating.
What?
It's a different kind of cookie and a different kind of recipe, but again, it's sweet. So then the trick is, after 3:30 cookie decorating, you stay for the 4 o'clock cultural tour, which has that surprise and delight I mentioned that comes at the end of a Sanaa experience. And then to top off your day, as I mentioned, we have campfires in both our locations, pools in both our locations. Unique to Animal Kingdom Lodge, a lot of resorts, you're going to have a campfire and you're going to have marshmallows. But at Animal Kingdom Lodge, we also have s'more skits. So you get free s'mores if you come to the campfires here at Animal Kingdom Lodge. One free one, but unlimited marshmallows.
What? So, wait, I think we forgot about something else, too. We forgot about the Starlight Safari, too.
Yep. Starlight Safari.
Which,
one of our most popular program. It's almost always full. You need to book that one about 4 months in advance because it's harder to get a seat the week of.
So is that different? I remember years ago I came here and you were able to go outside by the fire and there were the night vision goggles.
Correct. And that is complimentary, and that's still going on. And again, 2 buildings, 2 locations. So we do it every single night from sundown until about 10 o'clock. But what's different with Starlight Safari is you're going on the same truck that you went for Wanyama, except you're going at night, so it's dark. How are you going to see the animals? You have a night vision scope. So you have a scope, so you can still stand up, see our animals, be safe holding on, and then you're going to go through all the different savannas, see similar animals, except it's going to have that green glow on it. And that program happens twice a night. It got so popular, last year we added another session. So we do it at 8:30 for an hour, and then we do it at 10 o'clock for an hour, and it's $79.
I honestly did not realize that, I'm looking at the cultural immersion options that you had me a culinary exploration, animal adventures, animal programs, wildlife discoveries. I think I need to stay here for like a weekend and just in my pajamas, just hang out, do nothing but hang out at the lodge. I mean, they're nice pajamas. They're Spider-Man underoos. Who am I kidding? Yeah, because I mean, you really could spend a day at the resort and never have to sort of make your way out to a theme park.
And that's actually the goal of our general manager, is to be a resort that's a destination on its own, with so many activities, as you can see, that just as you go to a resort in the Caribbean or somewhere else and just stay at the resort, you can just stay here for a week and have countless activities. And clearly, as we're talking, great food.
Right. You want to bring the extra large clothes or stretchy pants. You sell stretchy pants, like African-inspired muumuus in the gift shop?
You're welcome to find out.
Because that's what I'm going to need by the time I leave here. This has been so helpful. Again, I have multiple reasons to come back, multiple things to review and eat and share and eat with you. I love the fact that you don't necessarily have to be a guest staying here. Let me just quickly look and see if anybody has any questions. Matthew is spending a week at Animal Kingdom Lodge in October. Can't wait. Erin says the place is so amazing. You don't need the parks. Just stay at the lodge. Except my second home, which is the boathouse. We've done the tour that includes the surprise and delight and the fact that it's free, which I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these things are not necessarily. There are some that are paid options, but there are a lot that are free as well. Mm-hmm. Kim says Starlight Safari was awesome. We loved it. The guide was excellent. Lou's favorite dish is free food. David Potts says, and Lou never left Animal Kingdom Lodge again. Jill McCann says she's rearranging her plans to stay here now. Martin says, sugar cookies, I'm on my way. So many foodie opportunities.
I was actually just thinking, because you're mentioning that you don't have to be a guest here, one of the other things that we actually do here at the lodge is, anyone here a pin trader or trades pins? Sometimes we get a lot of people who love pin tradings, and we have a special guest here named Kingpin. Has anyone heard of Kingpin? So basically, he makes appearances, sometimes during the week, every day at 2 o'clock. You can go to the Zawadi Marketplace, our merchandise location, and do pin trading outside. And a lot of those days per week, we have Kingpin. Now, Kingpin has a lot of pins. He is dressed all in black with a hat and a staff that has pins all over it. He has a lanyard of pins. He has a satchel of pins. He also has a magical pin bag. And at 2 o'clock, he'll come out and lay that red carpet, and guests are invited to come stand on his red carpet and do 2 trades with Kingpin. You can trade with something you see, or you can put it in the magic bag and you don't know what you're going to get out of the mystery bag. And the reason I say you don't have to be a guest is we have stories of people who, their first time here to Disney, but they're really big pin traders. They'll go to Space Mountain to be the first one on when Magic Kingdom opens, and then middle of the day they'll get the resort bus to come over here, trade with Kingpin, and they get on the bus and go right back to Magic Kingdom. So while it's Kingpin most of the days, if it's not Kingpin, they're still pin trading every day at 2 o'clock.
I'm almost sensing like a top 10 things you need to do at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge episode of the show. Somebody write that down. Beatrice, write that down, because I'll forget. Because, I mean, there are. I mean, there's clearly 10 things just looking at here. And yes, obviously, bread service is number 1 on that list.
And don't get discouraged thinking that the activities are just for kids. I've done tons, like the medallion rubbing,
Do you have your string of memories?
Did you see that?
Talking to them about where they work from, the storytelling around the campfire, the night vision. I've done a little class where they tell you how the birds get their food, like how the pelicans scoop up, and like all the little activities. I was the only adult, but it was tons of fun. Any differently.
Beatrice, when you say adult, you have to put that in air quotes. It's you know, it's relative.
It's Disney. There's not really a difference between adults and kids at Disney.
So don't let the activities make you feel like it's just for kids. Go play.
And I will openly side eye anyone who thinks this is not the most beautiful resort on Disney property. I mean, there's other places that have nostalgic value for me that I visited as a child with a family, or that are in proximity to Epcot, which I love, or whatever. But if you think this isn't the most beautiful resort on property, like it just is, and to see it during the holidays, like it'll be Lotus Lodge for money. Like it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely partial, but at Disney we have a lot of hotels with swimming pools, with recreation calendars, with a great cast, but there's only one with a zoo, right outside your window and your balcony.
And I think that the cast here is the kindest on property, and that speaks volumes because the cast everywhere on property is kind, but the cast here is. I personally think the kindest on property, and the pool, particularly the pool at Kadani, like especially as a mother of young boys, like serves like so many ages, and I just like this place holds such passion.
There's a lot of people like Tom saying Animal Kingdom Lodge very well might be the best resort on property. Definitely in the conversation. Jessica Alice is now making a special trip to add meeting Kingpin to her itinerary, and some people saying too that you can often get really good. So Peggy was even saying you can get great rates oftentimes at the lodge as well. She said Savannah View Studio she got for $200 a night. So, do you know how much offhand is the nighttime Starlight Safari?
Yeah, Starlight Safari is $79. The Dine with an Animal Care Specialist program, where you have lunch at Sanaa, is about $55. You mentioned the Wanyama Safari that happens every day at 3:30 is $209. And the Sense of Africa program, where you go backstage with the animals, is $266.
That's the one I want to try next. I saw somebody ask too, are there any annual pass holder or Disney Vacation Club discounts for any of the tours?
Sense of Africa.
Okay.
Yes, Sense of Africa. Of the 4 tours we have, Sense of Africa is the one that has both Disney Vacation Club and annual pass discount.
And a lot of people are singing the praises of Animal Kingdom Lodge at Christmas.
Yeah, it's a special thing, especially if you're here to see the tree go up. I know it's kind of a thing for a lot of people that will come to the different resorts the day that they build the tree. And it's actually pretty cool because they build it from the top up. So basically what happens is they'll get the string in place, and the first thing that goes up is like the tree topper, like the very first dome. And then they lift it up, and then add the next section to it, lift it up, add a bigger section to it, lift it up, add the biggest section. So the last thing to go in is the bottom of the tree.
And you have the bridge, which is the perfect view. I mean, it's I think it's the most stunning resort during the holidays. Like,
How do you find out what day they do that?
We never know until it's closer to the date, but if you ever ask us, or concierge or front desk, they'll tell you. Like, for instance, I don't know what it is yet. We haven't started planning that far ahead.
Come on, it's July. You should have Christmas or like Christmas. Doesn't the Christmas party start next week? And I remember the last time I stayed here, which was years ago. We spent the day at the resort, and we were hanging out in the pool. And you had them. Do you still do the movies? Like, you're able to watch the movies from, like, we were in the pool watching movies. I'm like, this is. If I'm going to die, this is not the worst place in the world for it to happen, because it's a good night.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a hot Florida summer, which is sweaty on its own, and you're in a pool cooling off at night with a movie, not too shabby.
Yeah. Kidani pool area is super cool, says Lisa as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that you like the Kidani pool area. For our viewers that aren't aware with why it's a little bit unique, it does have a very large pool, and it has a very large deluxe resort slide. If you're a deluxe resort, you have to have a big slide. But it also has a smaller slide, and it's perfect for, like, my 3-year-old was loving going on the small slide that is a very, very not sharp angle into the water, and then she'd waddle out and go back and do it again. But even if you're not swimming, then they have the wet deck area. So it's kind of like a splash zone. They have a lot of snakes that squirt water. They have like a cargo net play area that's all underwater, and you don't even need to know how to swim to be in that area, and you're getting wet. So it is a very unique area.
yeah, the pool itself is gorgeous, and then there's like a lovely pool bar area. But I have 2 little boys, so like we're broken down by age, like splash zone area.
And another thing people might not be aware of is people associate Kidani Village is like our Disney Vacation Club property, and Jumbo House is our more traditional hotel, but it has DVC. But it doesn't matter where you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge. If you're staying at Jumbo House, you can still go use the pool at Kidani. And if you're staying at Kidani, you can use the resources at Jumbo House. We consider it one resort no matter where you're staying.
Yeah. We seem to be making the argument that Animal Kingdom Lodge itself might be like the little 5th theme park. Like, you can really clearly you can spend an entire day here, both with add-on experience as well as free opportunities for stuff to take advantage of, and make a full day without having to even make it into the pool. And we've already covered the dining. You're fine on the dining side.
We got that
as
covered.
well. Yeah. Let me just quickly say, Matthew says it's nice how, even though it's big there, it always seems to be quite less crowded area to enjoy the resort. I think he means a quiet, less crowded. I think it was a typo. A quiet, less crowded way to enjoy. Kidani Pool has a great toddler area. Chris is going. Chris, don't ever say how old you are. She's 28 and going for the first time at the holidays and can't wait. Yeah, I think we have to come back and do this again during the holidays and give a little holiday tour of Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then go to Sanaa for bread service when we're done.
Yeah.
I have a one-track mind.
And if you're really interested in follow-up, closer to it, I can tell you when the tree's going up, and maybe you come 2 o'clock in the morning and get video of that.
What time does Sanaa close? Because if I time it appropriately, I can go right from Sanaa to the Dahlia. What?
They have a gym here too. I've been there.
They have
2
what?
gyms.
Spa and
Why do you got to ruin it by talking about the gym? Don't go down that road. We're having a nice evening.
There's a spa there too.
Is there a spot? There's a...
Yes. In Jumbo House, we have the spa area, so if you want your more traditional massage and spa treatments, that's here at Jumbo House. But separately, there is your fitness gym here at Jumbo House, and then a separate one over at Kadani as well. Again, 2 of almost everything.
You said the words fitness gym, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, I heard Charlie Brown's teacher when you said those words. She talked to Beatrice. She does that kind of stuff. Caleb loves the lodge music. I do as well. And actually, we even heard some of the kids outside, like, making their own kind of music, banging on some of the drums and the...
Yeah, and if we're going to continue the Christmas theme, it's really interesting coming during Christmas because while it's Christmas music, it's not going to be anything you're going to hear on the radio here in Central Florida. Right. It's actually African singers, African-themed songs, all from, like, native voices in Africa that are doing those carols.
And the lovely and talented Kristen Furman Simmons says Chico's wine menu is the best on property. I think a lot of people will very much agree with her because it's the largest collection of South African wines.
It's the largest collection of South African wine outside of South Africa.
Christina says the beds are so comfy. Again, people are going back to Boma for breakfast. It was hard to leave the room. Did the resort tour around the holidays last year. Never even made it. So excited to see Christmas in December. Anna says, thanks for tonight's show. It always goes to show there's always more Disney magic to experience and memories to make. Again, I've been coming here literally since November of 71, and half the things we talked about tonight, I had no idea. And I consider myself somewhat educated on things that happen at Disney World and didn't know. So this was very much an eye-opening experience. Don't forget about the New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
Mm.
Family-friendly
New Year's Eve party. Did you spend New Year's Eve here?
We had dinner at Boma on New Year's Eve.
So
fantastic, yeah, and they were handing out party hats. And
so it takes place up in the lobby?
Up
or?
here, it was kind of all over the place, but it was a kids gathering, there was a lot of organization, it was really...
It's a seasonal recreational item. It's not a paid extra charge or anything. They just make sure that everyone feels great on New Year's here.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Maybe we should get a whole bunch of people together and get rooms here for New Year's Eve and celebrate New Year's Eve at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Somebody write that down.
I got a ton of points I gotta use.
Michael has a ton of... Michael's giving everybody his points. I love you most, Michael. You are my favorite of everybody. Let's see. Sean's the smell at Kadani. Jason Frank's love. Can't wait to tour the resorts at Christmas.
Lou?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you do me a favor? Can you just tell Becky that I love her?
I will tell you if you get me a room at Animal Kingdom Lodge for New Year's Eve.
Oh, you want to get a room with me? That's cool.
Already planning a late night dinner at Sanaa Lounge, bread service and drinks per Lou's review. Matthew, I promise you will not be disappointed. Do you have a favorite specialty cocktail that's served anywhere at the resort?
To be fair, I haven't partaken in more of the specialty cocktails, but I have partaken in basically whatever I get on Wanyama from the different wines and whites. In fact, what were the alcoholic options you got during your pairings?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I have no idea. But I will tell you that the initial cocktail that she brought, it had pineapple and coconut, and it was lovely. It was delicious. I used it to wash down my bread service. But yeah, so there was a cocktail. We had a white wine, a red wine, and then a wonderfully sweet and fruity dessert wine that paired really well with that little cake in the center. That was the carrot. It was the layer of carrot cake and then the lemon. So I don't know exactly what it was. But
yeah, those are the 4 pairings you're always going to get with Wanyama for the course meal. You're always going to get a different cocktail. Sometimes it changes. You're going to get a version of their white. You're going to get a version of their red. And then the dessert wine that's going to pair with whatever the offering is that evening.
Do they have Amarula on the year?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Lots of it. In fact, that's what goes into the Zebra Dome.
The Savannah Rains at Victoria Falls is phenomenal. I'm all about the ginger beer drinks this summer because the sweet stuff doesn't work for me like in the heat.
Right.
So, yeah, I I did the Snow Leopard Salvation at New Lounge.
Ah, yes.
Is my summer favorite, and the Savannah Rain is like a rock version of that.
Just so you know, Jordan, we're going to, based on the feedback, we're going to need a block of rooms for New Year's Eve. Christina, Katie, Angela, everybody's coming down. Becky said cocktail when she woke up.
Speaking of rooms, have you talked about the Simba, the headboard, the whole Lion King bathroom theme?
It might have to be its own experience. We're basically doing everything that's lobby and restaurant and tours.
It's the most beautiful thing.
Actually, it's a perfect timing too with the Lion King, with all the Lion King stuff happening now to tie in with the movie. The fact that there's Lion King decor in the rooms as well. And again, it's been years since I've stayed here, but I remember it. Was it on the bathroom tile or? Do you have photos? Right? Is it right? Is it all the rooms have it, or some of the rooms?
To be fair, we're actually in the middle of a renovation right now. Okay. Most of our jumbo house traditional hotel style rooms are being renovated. So depending on which version you're talking about, you could be right, you could be wrong.
It'll be perfect just in time for New Year's Eve.
Right.
I'm just saying. We have to have a conversation. But let me see any other quick questions before we let you go and give you back your lounge. Is there a booze service complement to bread service? No, I mean you can sort of make your own. Becky wants to research all of the cocktails.
Well, for cocktails, definitely Victoria Falls with the little known mentioned one we said before, or the Snob Bar, or if you really just want to wind it up, go to Chico for all the South African.
So tell me if this is something that Kelly Williams-Bagby says we order room service to Victoria Falls and enjoy the. Is that doable?
Yeah. So basically, if you're at Victoria Falls and you want food options, they have a food menu there, and it's generally going to be a lot of the cast members from Chico that are helping offer that. So you can get food delivered to Victoria Falls.
Good night, everybody. Why are we sitting here? That might be the greatest super pro tip I've ever. Somebody write that down too. I'm literally taking a screenshot of that because
whether it's the traditional room service menu or the special Chico menu, yes, there is food that can be ordered to Victoria.
I'm sorry,
Falls.
wait a second. You said there was a special Chico menu that you can order?
Well, it's generally our Chico cast members that are the servers that are going to be bringing that food to Victoria Falls for the guests that order it.
Wow. Victoria just has a quick question. Will the room renovations be all the rooms or just the hotel type rooms?
Right now, it's the hotel type.
Okay. Let's see. People are mentioning some of their favorite cocktails. So I cannot thank you enough for letting me experience the safari today, for inviting us, you, and all of you to the Sunset Lounge.
That was a great crowd.
This was great.
To be fair, when we set this up, I didn't know how many other people were going to be here, and we have an audience.
This is great. Usually I talk to myself in my room, and I have a little silhouette on the door that I talk to, and people, I mean, I am clearly a crazy person, but it's nice to have actual real people to talk to. This has been a delicious, wonderful, eye-opening day for me, I think for you as well. I appreciate you so much, your generosity and your hospitality, inviting us in.
Absolutely.
And sharing all this with us.
I don't think this is the last time we're going to see you. So
I have a feeling.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you very much,
Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate it.
Have a great evening.
Round of applause. Thank all of you guys for making your way out to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. I hope that you're eating in addition to just... You just came from Boma? What was the best thing you had?
The carrot ginger soup.
Yeah.
Carrot ginger soup? How did we not talk about the carrot ginger soup? And the ribs. She said ribs and went like this. The ribs. Like, not little ribs, like big ribs.
We're going to leave without some zebra domes.
Zebra domes, yeah. Zebra domes are super popular. The ribs? How am I possibly... I literally just finished dinner and I'm already thinking about eating again. Hi, I'm Lou. Have we met? Animal Kingdom Lodge favorite, such a great experience. A lot of people singing the praises of Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. I would love to know from you guys in the comments what your favorite part of Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge is. What is the thing or the food that draws you here, whether you stay here as a guest or you just come visit as a guest to experience some of the different things the lodge has. Also, I'll scan this and I'll post this up in the Box People group in terms of what the recreation calendar is. What is one of the things that maybe you've never experienced in terms of some of the optional things you can do here at the lodge, in addition to eating and the bread service as well. I appreciate you guys so very much, especially all of you who joined me on the safari today, joined us here at Sunset Lounge. Thank all of you for making the Wild Animal Kingdom trek down here to the lodge, and certainly the entire cast at Lodge for being so gracious and hospitable. And it's time to eat again. So I hope you guys don't laugh at me. I'm always hungry. Why do you think I'm wearing black? And it's supposed to be somewhat slimming. And I only shoot from like here up. You don't want to see anything below here. So thank you guys again. If you enjoyed the show, please do me a favor, tell a friend, share it out with them, and make sure you stay tuned for the next live show. Definitely next Wednesday night, possibly even beforehand. You never know where else I might be when, so make sure you turn on notifications. Also, let's see, a couple of other quick reminders. Don't forget this week's top 10 list, the top 10, the little things that we miss in Walt Disney World. I don't mean attractions, I don't mean shows. This is the very first time in 15 years that our top 10 list has a part 1 and a part 2, and I want to know from you, what are some of the little things that you miss? Also, if you're going to be around this weekend, we have our Meet of the Month, our annual Meet of the Month at Typhoon Lagoon. I need a waterproof muumuu stat, or I need to lose 30 pounds in 2 days. What at Animal Kingdom Lodge is not helping. But yeah, so this Saturday we will be at Typhoon Lagoon. What else? Oh, I also have still, if you're interested in coming to my Momentum Weekend Workshop in September, I have created just for you a special discount code. Use code WDW Radio 100. I'm going to announce the first round of speakers, including our keynote speaker, who I think you'll find fascinating for many reasons. And if you use code WDW Radio 100, you can save $100. We are more than 50% sold out, and that is going to change, I think, very, very quickly. So take advantage of the discount code while you can. Also, make sure you join if you are not a member of our Box People group over on Facebook. That is where the community and conversation exists. And of course, I want to thank all of you who are members of the WDW Radio Nation family. I love and appreciate each and every one of you, as well as I do you. Again, thank you guys so much for spending and sharing your Wednesday night with me, with us here at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. So until next time, see ya. I'm not kidding about thinking about bread service, just saying that. I walked up the stairs from downstairs, so
Stairs are hard.
I think that counted exactly. I think I walked off my bread service in advance, so.
Thanks for keeping that one manageable.
Thank you.
It's always good to try new things.